Hi, I'm Bart Hansen. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the instructions in the video description.
One,
Okay.
two, no limit.
Yep.
$500 effective in this hand.
Is this in Michigan?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a 300 cap, but 500 is effective for this hand.
Okay.
The VIP or fish in the situation is loose aggressive. He's played a bunch of hands, a lot of junky stuff he's shown down. So I open it up a little wider here. I know a lot of people are going to say fold pre, but this villain limps under the gun.
Okay.
Hijack calls, and I raise to 10 with deuce 3 of diamonds.
In the cutoff?
On the button, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's way too wide.
Yeah.
I do remember this hand. I think it gets a little bit on the interesting side, but just as long as you know. The other thing, too, is that I'm teaching my wife a little bit about poker. I'm going to talk about that on the podcast tomorrow, too. And I'm also going to talk on the podcast tomorrow, too, about what games you should play with sort of shorter rules. The problem with these types of games, even if it's 1-2, though, if you're 500 effective, okay. I don't know what the standard open sizing is. What do people usually straight open to here? Because you've got two limps. Usually, if people are going to open to 10,
normally 8, so it's a little low. It's a little light too. Normally 8.
Yeah,
so,
I mean
I
that's
guess with a couple limpers, it should be 12 to 14.
You just don't really have like any kind of high card value, so you're going to be like forced to bluff at this. But okay, so you make it 10.
Yep.
Yep.
The villain calls, hijack folds. So heads up to the flop, 25 in.
Okay.
It comes king of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, 9 of clubs.
King of diamonds, king of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, 9 of clubs. Is that right?
Yep.
Great. So you got a flush draw, and then you have backdoors too. Like you've got a couple of good, turn cards here that'll give you additional equity, right? Like obviously, if you pair your deuce or your 3, an ace, a 5. I mean, you sort of have 3 to a straight flush. You know what I mean? You've got that 3 to a straight flush with a deuce 3 of diamonds. Okay. So I assume
the villain
you
checks, and I bet 10, and he ends up calling.
Yeah, I don't know
45.
about. I mean, I guess again, it's kind of tough. Like, you're looking at a pot of probably 25, and yes, you're down betting. You just have to understand that if you're going to take this sort of down bet size, then you're going to have to really size up because he's going to be very, very wide here. And you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to take a card on the turn if I'm going to down bet. You could even start with a larger bet size here and just continue to kind of bet large on the turn too, where he's just only going to continue on with a king on the turn, because and you're also sort of building a pot up towards a nut hand. But okay, so you bet 10, UTG calls, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So the turn's real interesting. It's an ace of diamonds.
So you make a flush.
Yep. And now the villain donk leads 50 into the $45 pot.
So UTG bets 50 into 45.
Just over the pot.
Into 45. That's really interesting because, like, that hand, a couple of things ago. I'll tell you the bluffs that he might have because I saw some of this, like, spazzy play a little bit, like, when I was watching my wife. But it's really, really interesting when somebody bets an ace on the turn. Like, it would be one thing if it was like a diamond. I'm talking about, like, obviously he might have a flush, right? And then you have some of the slow plays that he might have had here where he doesn't want to get off like a free card. I guess it's possible he could have some sort of aces up. Some of his bluffs are probably like the Broadway straight draws. So it's king of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, 9 of clubs, ace of diamonds. So like a hand like queen 10, queen jack with a diamond in it, queen of diamonds. I've seen people make those types of spazzy plays. When the ace and the king are diamonds out there, okay, that means obviously the nut flush is the queen high flush. This is a kind of an interesting spot. I will never give someone credit for leading with the nut flush here. So that sort of leaves like, I mean, you have the lowest flush, so it's possible that he could have obviously like sort of a mid-ish suited connector. Usually like an approach in a larger game is that when you have a small flush in position, especially if you're the pre-flop raiser, you c-bet and then somebody leads into the scare card. A lot of times you just call because you're trying to sort of like protect the hand, like you don't want to just wake up, like you just don't have a whole lot of bluffs unless you're just like airball bluffing. But
Hmm.
at this level, I could actually see raising here because people play just so bad. So it's like from a theoretical concept, once you get larger, it's a good hand to sort of flat with your smaller flushes when you get led into. I played a little bit of 1-3 at the Matrix this past week with my wife too, and I sort of got into little spots like this where I was like, well, I would, should I raise? Should I call? I could actually see, I could really see either way. I mean, if you're telling me he's like an OMC and he's going to have the nuts, I could see calling, but I could also see raising here too. What
Yeah,
did you
I
do?
wasn't real sure. He was a little talkative, so I just decided to call here and kind of see what he would do on the river.
You said he's an aggro
Uh,
VIP, aggro villain, right? Is that
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I
Yep.
mean, there's another. I mean, the other thing too is just like sort of give himself like rope to hang himself with if he does have a bluffing frequency with like the Queen of Diamonds or something like that. But the other thing though too is that a lot of those hands might call. Like if he's got like Queen 10 with the Queen of Diamonds and you make it like 125, like those hands might call. You know what I mean? But anyway, anyways,
Yeah.
okay, you call.
So I call.
Yep,
So 145 in the pot,
yep,
and the river is an 8 of clubs. So
okay,
basically a brick.
yep.
And now the villain leads or bets again 125. So he basically makes a pot size bet here. And this is where I wasn't sure if I should just call or raise. Like I said, against a good opponent, I may fold here. I'm never folding to this guy, but I didn't know if a call or a raise in this spot.
Well, I don't see now. See, the reason why you would raise the turn is because I feel like he might call with some of those Queen of Diamonds hands, as long as you don't go nuts, right? But
Okay.
now that all of the cards are sort of revealed here, so the other thing too about raising the turn is that you very well might get some hands that actually are betting for value, like an aces up or a slow played set from your opponent on the turn, right? You're going to get value from
Hmm.
those hands he's going to call. I don't, but now that we move to the river, I don't know if some of those hands continue with the pot sizing, right? Because you do have some ace kings too. So for a guy to go like with ace, like small aces up at this level, a lot of times they won't do that. So we gain more information when we roll across the river. Like there's a reason to raise the turn for those reasons. An overplay of worse value, get called by the Queen of Diamonds. Now on the river, when he follows up with a pot size bet, if you raise, all his bluffs aren't going to call you, right? And I don't
Hmm.
think he has those worse value hands. So I think that the play is just to call now on the river. I can see raising the turn, but I think the play is to just call now on the river.
Okay.
What did you do?
I just ended up calling.
Okay.
He flipped over ace 7 off, so he had one pair. He hit
So
the
so
ace
he's
on the turn.
so here's the thing. So he's bluffing, right? He had no diamond in his
Hmm.
hand, right? He had no diamond in his hand.
No, no diamonds.
Right. By the way, see how what that small sizing does on the flop? A7
Yeah,
off, right?
I couldn't believe it.
I don't think there's any way he's ever going to call a raise here. It would suck if he somehow had like a set of fours. But again, I think that the line that moves to the river is he's got a flush or he's got a hand that's not going to call a raise. Occasionally he's got worse value, but I don't think it makes it worth it enough to raise. You understand what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate it.
You got
Thank
it,
you so
buddy.
much.
All right. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.